Hey, what's up YouTube? My name is Chris Chevier. Thanks for stopping by the channel. Today I'm going to show you guys my condo that I've been mining in. I currently have 3 rigs in here and only a total of 6 cards, but I'm pulling around 30 bucks a day. So if you guys want to see how I do it, stay tuned. Alright, so this is the first rig I'm going to show you guys. This is my full 3060 rig. I have one more 3060 coming, and once that comes, I'm going to put this rig on HiveOS. That way I can run a 3060 using a riser, because with Windows you cannot use a riser and mine 3060s to their full potential. So right now I have 2 3060s running to their full potential, sitting in 2 full 16x slots, and out of these I'm getting 47 to 48 megahash each. And I'm rocking the ASUS PHOENIX single fan cooler 3060 right here, non-LHR, and the MSI VENTUS 2X non-LHR as well. Both of these are 12 gig cards. On top here we have a 3060 Ti from Dell. This is an OEM version. Excellent card. This one does around 61 to 62 megahash, and it's just an all-around in general excellent card. It's running at 62 megahash right now, and I can touch it and it's not even warm. But it has been pretty cold outside, so I got my window cracked open a tiny bit. Got the fan blowing through the cards. But my house is only 68 degrees right now with all my mining rigs running. But this rig right here is my most efficient rig by far. I have an 850 watt power supply on it, even though I'm probably only using like 450 watts total here. But as the processor, I have a Ryzen 1600X Ballistics DDR3 RAM, 8 gigs of RAM, and then I have a nice cooler on it. And for the SSD, I'm using a Crucial SSD, just a 128 gigabyte SSD. And for the risers, I'm just using standard, I believe, GPU risers, ones with the little green LED on them. But yeah, that's this rig. This is the 3060 rig. I'm going to put the RX 5700 rig right below this one. It's going to be on the bottom here, so that way there's blowing into the room, rising up and heating my bedroom because it's been kind of cold in here. So I'm going to move that RX 5700 rig in here once I get it all configured and set up properly. But yeah, this is my 3060 rig, and we'll move on to the next one. Alright, so next up we got my RX 5700 rig. I just built this last night. I got both these cards for $700 a piece, and it doesn't matter if they're non-LHR or whatever. This is AMD, so it's not a thing. There is no LHR for these cards. So if you can find some 5700s for less than 800, I say definitely a good bang for the buck. They do 55 megahash at 150 watts each. And on this board, I just picked this board and CPU up yesterday as well. I'm rocking a MSI 970A-G46 motherboard. This is an old DDR3 motherboard. Also rocking the Ballistics 8 gigs of RAM. And the processor is a AMD FX 5100, or 6100 actually. So it's a 6-core CPU, kind of overkill, but might as well. I was having some issues getting these cards running, and I figured out the issue was MSI Afterburner. So instead of using MSI Afterburner to tweak these cards, I went and used the AMD Radeon software. So the Radeon software actually has some overclock settings that you can use in there, and it honestly works better than Afterburner because it honestly boots up right when the system boots, because it just loads the driver and loads the software right up in the background when you boot Windows. So if you're going to build an AMD rig, I highly suggest not doing it with other NVIDIA cards, because with NVIDIA you're probably going to be using Afterburner, and Afterburner doesn't work with these AMD cards. It just crashes continuously over and over again. But if I use the AMD Radeon software, I haven't had any issues whatsoever. But yeah, these are doing 55 megahash, 150 watts each around, and the whole rig itself is only at 455 watts. So very efficient rig. Similar, a setup like this is similar to like what a 3090 would get you, one 3090 in a rig. So yeah, I'm also rocking a 2 terabyte hard drive. I'm waiting on an SSD to come. Once the SSD comes, I will copy this drive over to the SSD and run it on SSD. But hard drives do work if you're in a pinch, just so you know. EVGA 650 watt G3 for the power supply. I gotta say, these power supplies are the cheapest pieces of shit I've ever seen EVGA come out with. I've absolutely loved like the G3s and whatnot, but these G5s are just so plasticky and flimsy, and whenever I would shut the power supply off by using the switch, it would literally make a popping noise, like sounded like it was gonna explode. So I don't know, I would stay away from these EVGA G5 versions. I would stick with the G2 and G3s, the Supernovas, because those are just high-end compared to these junkers. But for right now, it's working. I got 200 watts to spare, and it is gold rated, so should be good for now. But yeah, this is the RX 5700 rig. This is the one I'm going to be putting in my bedroom underneath my 3060 rig once I make a frame for it. Or I might just set it on the shelf in there, I don't know. Doesn't really need a frame since the cards are just sitting directly on the motherboard anyways. I don't need to use any risers or anything. So this is pretty convenient for me. So let's move on to the next rig. Alright, so this is my main driver. In this machine I got a 9900K liquid cooled using push-pull configuration with 6 fans on a triple rad radiator. And we also have a EVGA 3090. So water-cooled XC3 version of the 3090. It's an excellent card. If you're going to be using it for mining, I would honestly use this card and just mine with it and do that only. I previously had a EVGA 3090 for the Win 3 edition, and when I was like using my computer or whatever while mining, I was like still getting 120 megahash pretty much at all times with the For the Win 3 edition. But with this one, if I start using my computer while I'm mining, it drops down to a good like 105 megahash, and that's even with bumping up the core clock and bumping up the power limit, and it's still not giving me the full megahash that I would want while I'm using the PC. So if you're gonna put a 3090 in your main PC and you want to use it sometimes while you're mining, I would go with the EVGA For the Win 3 edition. The memory temps on there are excellent. Memory temps and core clock on this card is still excellent, but it just doesn't put out as much megahash as the For the Win 3 editions. So I may sell this, upgrade to the EVGA For the Win 3 water-cooled version. That is something I'd definitely be interested in. So if anyone has one of those and wants to trade, do a clean trade and I'll give you some extra cash, I am down for that. But I got a cooler fan on the memory because it does get pretty hot. Not super hot, but just in case, let's say it got really hot during the day while I wasn't home. That way this is for sure cooling it, so that's good. All the hot air from the VRAM is going up through the fan, exhausting out of this or exhausting out the GPU cooler straight out the top of the case. So it's a pretty good configuration. Everything blows in from the front and then slowly rises up to the back corner. So pretty good configuration. This is my setup. If you guys haven't seen it before, triple monitor setup. But we're going to dive into the screens now, and I'm going to show you guys all the overclocks for each specific card. That way if you got any questions or concerns about my overclocks or what you should overclock your cards to, you can use these as a reference. So All right, so first up we got my 3060 rig. This is the dual 3060 and a 3060 Ti rig. And currently both 3060s are doing 48.3 around there megahash. And then the 3060 Ti is doing 61.57. And for power, both the 3060s are around 118 to 120 watts. And the 3060 Ti is around 138 to 140 watts. So let's look at the overclocks now. I'm using MSI Afterburner, and I have it booting with Windows and all that good stuff, and I have some profiles saved. But right now we're looking at the MSI Ventus 2X 3060, and for the core clock I'm going -200, and the memory clock I am doing +1200. If it's a really cool day, I'll go +1250 on the memory, but everything else will stay the same. And if it's a really hot day, I'll bring the core clock on this one down to -400. And I leave the power limit always at 70. And for the temp limit, I do 75. That way, if it gets up to 75 degrees, the driver will shut off and the card won't necessarily stop mining, but the overclock will stop and it'll go back to stock. And right here for the fan speed, I just keep it at 92. A lot of people use fan curves, but I don't really like it whining, like going really high and then dropping really low. And I just like to keep it at 92 so I know that it's going to stay cool. And so that's the first card. Let's go to the second card. This is the ASUS PHOENIX RTX 3060. Both of these cards have 12 gigs of RAM. And for this one, since it's a single fan cooler, I need to do a lot more work on the core clock. So I actually brought the core down as far as it can go, and I'm still at 1250 megahertz. So, I mean, it's still up there. It's actually a really nice card. It has a high core clock, even though it's a single fan. But I brought it all the way down, and then I did +1100 on the memory. If I go to 1200 or anything higher than 1100 with this ASUS PHOENIX, it crashes. Not right away, but after 6 or so hours, it just crashes. Not sure why, but with these overclocks, it's completely stable. I run it weeks on end with 0 rejected shares. Right now, it's been up for, I guess it's only been up for 10 minutes right now because I paused it a couple minutes ago, actually. But usually it shows 0 rejected shares and like gets up to the thousands and 0 rejected shares still. So anyways, -400 on the core, +1100 on the memory, 70 on the power limit, 75 on the temp limit. And if you keep changing this power limit and you notice this number is just locking with whatever you change this number to, you just have to select this and unlink them. That way you can set your own temp limit. And then fan speeds, 92. Now we're going to go to my 3060 Ti. And this is an excellent card. -200 on the core, which brings us to 1485 megahertz. Memory clock is +1200. If it's a super cool day, I run that at 1250 as well, just like the Ventus 2X card. So hot day, leave it at 1200. Cold day, 1250. And power limit, I always keep that at 70 as well. Seems to be the magic number for these 3060s is 70 power limit. No matter what card I put it on, it runs great with 70 power limit. Fan speed, I have it at 92 as well. But yeah, that's it for this 3060 rig. Now we can move on to our next rig. Alright, so this is my RX 5700 rig. I have two RX 5700s running around 45 to 46 megahash each, and they're both pulling around 150 to 152 watts. The memory temp is only 70 or 72, and the core temps are 55 and below. So excellent card, very efficient. Two of these cards get you up to basically a 3090. And two of these cards was only $1,400 for me. So excellent deal if you ask me. I'm basically getting the performance of a 3090 for only $1,400 this way. And also using just about the same power, because a 3090 does around 290 to 320 watts. And for this one, I am not using Afterburner. I'm actually using AMD Radeon software. So I'm going to open that and show you guys my overclocks. So for one of the cards, I have a custom fan curve here going up. Minimum of 50. That way it doesn't ramp up and ramp down super fast and whine. It's a very annoying noise. But for the VRAM tuning, I went over here and did enable, and then I did advanced control. That way you can put the specific megahertz. And I wanted this card to go to 830 megahertz for this one. Even though they're the same exact card, I have two different VRAM tuning options. So over here I have 1834, right, megahertz, but it's all the way down here. If I go to my other card, I have pretty much the same number, but look how much higher it is on this bar. So it seems like one of my cards has a little bit slower of memory than the other card does. But both of them I set to 1834. And for some reason when I do that, it loses 4 megahertz on the actual clock speed. So I always set it 4 megahertz faster than what it was, because for some reason you always lose 4 megahertz. And coming down here to power tuning, I just have that turned off. And I have the custom fan curve. So really all you need to adjust with this program is just 1830 for the VRAM. Both of these cards have been BIOS modded, so keep that in mind. I will link a video to the Red Panda Mining overclock guide, as well as mining chambers video for the 5700 XTs, because I actually followed the 5700 XT guide, and then when it asked me which GPU I wanted, I just clicked 5700 instead of the XT, and it worked just as good as the 5700 XT video. So I'm glad I was able to find that video from Mining Chamber as well as Red Panda Mining. I will link those videos in the description. But let's go to our second card now. And I have the same overclock, 1834, and I have a little bit less of a fan curve on this one because this card isn't displaying out a signal like the other one is, so it doesn't need as high of fan speeds because the temperature should be a little bit lower since it's not actually displaying anything. But the only thing I have set is that memory, and then I have power tuning disabled, but I have the fan curve on. So once you change something, there's a little apply button up here that you can select, and it will change your overclocks. And the cool thing about the Radeon software is once you're set, you can just exit the program. The only downside of AMD cards is that they don't show you your temperatures on the NiceHash browser. So if I went into NiceHash, it would just say -- for the temperatures for these cards. So I do run VNC viewer though, that way if I'm out and about, I can check my temperatures manually from my phone or from a tablet or a laptop. I can always check on this rig no matter where I'm at using a VNC server. So if you guys want to set that up, leave me a comment down below. Maybe I'll make a video on how to set up VNC for all your rigs. But that's it for this 5700 rig. Now we're going to move on to my last rig, which is my 3090 rig. Alright, so this is my 3090 rig. I am screen recording right now while mining. Probably not the greatest idea, but as you can see, my hash rates are dog water, as the kids would say these days. But let me scroll up so I can just show you. So here it is, 3090 hash rate 120.6, 117 accepted shares in 19 minutes, 0 rejected. Power is around 302 watts, core temperature 38, memory temp, or not 30, 96 on the memory. So it's getting a little hot in my condo. And my fan is at 92. So you saw the hash rates when I'm not screen recording, of course, but here's the overclocks for you. And this is the EVGA RTX 3090 XC3 edition water cooled. So, and my core clock is at -200, and my memory clock is at +1200. I've tried using 1250 and it does work for like a solid 9 hours and then seems to crash. So I'm just going to keep it stable at 1200. Power limit, we are doing 70 power limit. Temp limit, 76. And the fan speed, we are also at 92. That seems to be just my go-to amount for fan speed. 92. But yeah, these are my overclocks for the 3090, and when I'm not screen recording and doing stuff, it gives me about 120 megahash to 122 megahash. So excellent, excellent card. I do want to upgrade to the for the Win 3 edition at some point though, but that's it for now. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope this was kind of helpful. If you have the same cards as me, I hope you got some good overclocks from this video. If you have any questions or would like me to make a video about any of my cards or my rigs, or maybe some videos about AMD BIOS flashing and stuff like that, just leave a comment down below and I will try to make a video for you. So I hope this was helpful, and I hope to see you guys on the next one. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the bell icon. Thanks, guys. Bye.